What's up, everybody? I'm Steve, and with me, as always, is D. And you are watching Conversations with Cabys, the only show on the internet that will be coming home next year. And if the title don't tell you, and that new fucking graphic right there don't tell you, we're talking about Foo Fighters today. It's the new year, first show of the new
Happy New
year.
Year!
D's eating a commemorative New Year shot, Jello shot that
Yep,
is, and
that's right.
we're gonna be
That's
talking
for
about
days.
Foo Fighters today.
Indeed. Well, Happy New Year, my friend.
Happy New Year. Haven't talked much. Did the whole family Christmas, which was awkward as shit, and then fucking and then fucking haven't talked really since then. It's been crazy.
Yeah, it's been crazy, dude. I haven't known what day of the week it is or what date of the month, other than I just know, okay, this is the 25th and this is the 1st, and everything in between is a fucking wash. I don't know.
Right. I mean, there was so much shit going on. That's why we didn't get another episode in, guys. Sorry about that. We wanted to, but it was just crazy busy, and I had a cold. I'm just like, I think this is like the first day that I know I'm on the other side of it, where I'm like, all right, cool, I'm on the mend. It'll be all right. But it's been shitty, big shitty as of late.
Another few days of getting rid of congestion, and hopefully
Yeah, Wednesday's episode I
back on
should
the
sound
grind.
better. Hopefully, Wednesday's episode I should sound better. But anyway, first episode. Happy New Year, everybody! And we talking about fucking Foo Fighters, one of the best fucking bands ever.
I think this is a great way to kick off the new year with one of our definitely top. I would know. Would you say to put this? These are your top five, right?
Oh,
Top
they're
five
in my
favorite.
fucking top five favorite bands of all time easily. God, that's a
Yeah.
hard list as shit.
We're not talking about top five
We
today. I'm
can't
not
do
putting you
that.
on the spot.
We gotta fucking genres we gotta go genres and we gotta go decades and we gotta go styles and we gotta go because I mean you do. Okay, we're gonna circle back. Just indulge me for 1 second.
Oh boy.
Beatles, Eagles, CCR, okay, okay, Petty, okay, Zeppelin, and I haven't even gotten started. Okay,
That's not even like 80s yet.
how
That's
how
still
hard
70s and earlier.
how do you get a top five? Tell me that one for a second. How do you get a top five? That's why it's so hard for me, and I will not. You can't shoehorn me into a top five because
I would never try to.
it can't be done. But
But
I can shoehorn
for
myself into like genres like this. They are easily the best contemporary, one of the best top five contemporary rock bands right now, and of all time. Like from 92, 94, 95 when the first album came out, 95 when the first album came out, to now, they are one of the best. Easily in the top five, probably in the top three, but that's a tough ask for me to narrow it down to a top three. There's just too much.
for sure,
There's just too much going
for
on.
sure, I'm with you, man.
This is
Um,
also for anybody who's like Foo Fighters. Cool, we're going to talk about Nirvana. We're not going to talk about Nirvana today. Nirvana is a whole other band that deserves its own consideration, and it would be less than for me to talk about Foo Fighters and try to shoehorn Nirvana into here as well, because it takes away from Foo Fighters. Dave Grohl used to be in there. He was a drummer for Nirvana for their whole Nirvana's existence.
mhm.
And essentially created Foo Fighters and the first Foo Fighters album out of that needing a release, I guess, after Kurt died. And that that's where you get the first album. He wrote everything on it and essentially figured out he had enough material for a whole album and was like, all right, how do I get a band together again? And there was a band called Sunny Day Real Estate from the area, from around, uh, the Pacific Northwest. He knew of Nate Middleton and William Goldsmith were the rhythm section, the drummer, the bassist and drummer respectively. Um, Nate Middleton is still in the band. He's the bassist, great bassist. William Goldsmith is not in the band. He was in the band for 2 albums, although he never recorded like a track on the actual album. He was like their touring musician because Dave didn't like the way he played. And it's really tough to be the drummer for Foo Fighters when you have Dave Grohl as the benchmark for what you're going to be. Because Dave Grohl's a really,
Right,
really, really good drummer.
Right. This is a guy who is an excellent drummer, but is taking a back seat from the drummer so he can be the front man and,
And you have
guitar
to
player
fill in
for the
that role.
band.
You have to say, all
Right.
right, I'm going to be as good as that drummer, which is tough. It's tough to fucking do. Really tough to ask. So, nothing against William Goldsmith. I'm sure he's a fine drummer and other things. When Goldsmith left after the third album, or right before the third album, Taylor Hawkins joined the band, and Taylor Hawkins has been in the band ever since. Taylor Hawkins, formerly of Alanis Morissette. That
Yeah.
is the band he was in before he was in Foo Fighters. Think about that one for a minute. But Alanis Morissette also is heavy rhythm driven. She has, like, for lack of a better term, jungle beats and the conga beats that go into her music. Is you got to have a really good rhythm section, and Taylor Hawkins is a really good drummer. Franz Stahl, formerly of Scream, which was a band, the punk band Dave Grohl was in before he was in Nirvana. He was in a band called Scream, and the guitarist of that band, Franz Stahl, was going to be the guitarist before they kind of auditioned, had open auditions. Literally, Foo Fighters had open auditions for a lead guitar player. Chris Shiflett came in and killed it, and has been the guitar player ever since. So essentially, they found their way. They found their whole band unit, the core unit of the band, as of the third album, relatively. Like, Pat Smear has been an on and off guitar player. He quit whenever around the third album because he was old. He was in Nirvana with Dave and is just tired of fucking touring, and he wanted some chill time, and then missed it and came back. And that's what you do. And he's second rhythm guitar player, minor leads and things like that. Chris Shiflett is a lead guitar player through and through. A really, really, really solid lead guitar player. That's basically the history of the band. Anything to add there, D? Did I miss anything on that one?
No, just you touched on it there at the end with Dave and Pat both coming from Nirvana. I find it interesting that there was this little tiny sliver of time right after Nirvana where Dave was just kind of on his own. Just I think he was writing music and trying to find, like you said, the sunny real estate.
Well, this, if you're looking at the timeline of the band, like the little chunk from 94 to 95, basically, was him in the studio alone with Barrett Jones, who Barrett Jones, they did the recording at the Robert Lang Studios in Seattle, like essentially right down the road from where Dave was living at the time. So he would write all the shit. He'd go in to this studio with Barrett, and Barrett Jones owned the studio, and recorded the whole fucking thing. Every part. He recorded the bass, the drums, the guitar, vocals, everything, for the original demo tape that turned out to be the Foo Fighters' original album that came out in 95.
Yeah, I just like that's interesting. It's for as big as they were, you would think that he did. It looks like he had some opportunities after that. One of them was being considered for.
Oh, Tom Petty wanted him to become his drummer. Tom Petty wanted him to become his drummer after. I think it was right around. Yeah, it was right around this time, like right around the Kurt thing.
94.
He did like the first. I want to say it was the January 94 or January 95. I want to say Tom Petty was musical guest for the first show of that new year in 95. It's somewhere in this timeline, 94, 95, late 94, early 95. Tom Petty calls up Dave Grohl and says, "Hey, I need a drummer for this Saturday Night Live gig. Do you want to do it?" And when Tom Petty calls you to fucking be the drummer in his band, you say fucking yes. I mean, that's what you do. You don't get an opportunity to play music with Tom Petty very much. And it's fucking, that was, and Tom Petty after that show said, "Hey, do you want to be in the band?" That's a tough, that is a tough thing to turn fucking down, to turn Tom Petty down. And you could just make a shit ton of money rolling with Tom Petty. But that's how much he wanted to be a frontman and do it on his own.
Yep, and then get these songs that he had written, recorded and out there. And I just wanted to just touch on that briefly because I thought that was really cool.
Oh yeah, it's super cool. I mean, Dave Grohl's super talented. Again, I think we probably will do it just an episode on Dave Grohl because Dave Grohl's in also 50 zillion other bands. Them Crooked Vultures. He's in the Desert Sessions stuff. He's in Tenacious D is their drummer. So there's a lot of he
The whole
influences
Sound City movie and
right.
soundtrack.
There's a lot of influences that he has, so it'd be really cool to probably get into that. We're going to talk a little bit about Sound City because I can't really. I'd be remiss if I didn't start talk about that Neve board a little bit and kind of everything that came out of Sound City. But I think the Dave Grohl episode would be really good to do like the Sound City Dave Grohl episode. That'd be a really cool episode, I think, to kind of talk really in depth about Sound City and what that studio meant and what it means that Dave Grohl actually kept that board alive. It's really, really cool. But we're getting way ahead of ourselves. So let's bring it back and we'll talk about this first demo tape thing that he recorded. Like I said, it was released in July '94. This is going to have your singles on it that everybody knows. There's 4 singles off of it. This is a call. I'll stick around for all the cows and Big Me. But Big Me, I mean, that's the Mentos one. The Futos. That's the Futos. Like everybody knows Futos because of Big Me. I'll stick around. Probably I really liked that one a lot. Maybe better than Big Me. This is a call as a fine song as well, but I think probably I'll stick around as a better track for me.
Yeah, that's probably my favorite on this one as well. I don't know this one from front to back because this one wasn't like it was their breakout one, but it wasn't their most memorable album.
Right. I mean, as I said, it was a demo tape, and then and it came out in mid '95, and then in '97 they came out with the next album. So, and I think he really wanted to get that next album out because again, this was a tape he did by himself. This wasn't the band, and I really think if for nothing else, Dave Grohl likes to feel inclusive in that nature. Like wants it to be a band. If we're going to be a band, we're going to be a band. Let's do this. You know what I mean? But I also want the best quality product. So there is that. But yeah, this isn't a really good front to back. I mean, I've listened to it all, but like I said, those 2, Big Me, This Is a Call and I'll Stick Around, are really quality tracks off of it. Interestingly enough, the next album though again comes out in May '97, and this is where everybody starts to know them. And the biggest track off of this obviously is Monkey Wrench. Everybody, that's a breakout fucking track, and everybody knows that video. Everybody knows that in the video that's in the apartment with him looking at himself, and I mean, that was the one that got them on the map. Do I think it's the best song on the album? By no stretch of the imagination do I think it's the best song on the album, but I think it's definitely the one where everybody figured out this was a summer jam track in '97 for fucking sure. Like everybody fucking knew the words of this song and everybody sang the song that fucking summer. 100%. Like if you were to go back and what was the best, like the biggest track in '97 that summer, it would have been this track for sure. It was just, yeah. I mean, that song was all over.
Yeah, Monkey Wrench, but I agree. Probably pop hit, or rock hit. That was probably the one.
Sure,
but that one was easily challenged by 2 other singles off that one.
I mean, the next 2, yeah,
and Everlong.
Yeah, Everlong came out, and then My Hero came out, and those 2 were amazing. Everlong, Dave Grohl by himself on the guitar, singing acoustically to a track. I mean that original album release was iconic, and I don't know. It was really amazing. And then My Hero is that drum beat to My Hero is fucking iconic, and everybody fucking knows that drum beat. You can't not. This is a front to back album pretty much for me.
Oh yeah.
Hey Johnny Park.
One of the ones
is a fucking amazing fucking track. Hey Johnny Park is just fucking amazing. February Stars though. That's a great fucking song. And Walking After You.
Fantastic
song. Walking After You is a fantastic fucking track. Yeah, so there's not My Poor Brain is a good song. I mean, not the greatest, not in the same sense of the other tracks. My Poor Brain is absolutely, it's a punk track that really doesn't have any, but I mean, it's still good. And it's just a mix, a really good mix, because you got My Hero on here, but you also have February Stars Are Walking After You. Like, really, arena rock to bluegrass? I mean, would we go a little like, you almost feel in February Stars like country and western influences, like or softer rock influences, and it's just
but it's
interesting.
but it's heavy at the same time at certain parts, certain
Right, sure.
fills or bridges.
Oh, of course, yeah. It's
But
a
yeah,
epitome Foo Fighters.
that song was a gem for me that I didn't discover, with the rest of the songs. I think you and I were listening to them one day, on traveling or going from point A to point B or whatever, and that song came on, and I was like, "Damn!"
Which one?
I, February Stars.
February Stars. Yeah, that's a great
Yeah,
track. It's a great track, dude. It's a great track. A deep cut, but there's so many deep cuts. They're the king. This band for sure. If nothing else, this band is the king of deep cuts. Like for me, every track can be a single. Most every track can be a single. They're just the kings of deep cuts. Gil Norton is the producer of this particular album. This is where they actually got a true producer in. They got a guy that came, like, even Nate Mendleton was like, with this album, they recorded this in Bear Creek, essentially. Uh, let's see. Yeah, Bear Creek. Bear Creek's a studio that they rented out in Washington that they just kind of set in for a little bit, and essentially Nate Middleton is said that this is the album where he realized, oh shit, I need to get better. Like,
there's a lot to this.
there is a lot to this, and I need to get. I got to keep getting better. I mean, fuck. And the Gil would be like, tighten up that hook and play it on time. And he just looked and was like, shit, I need to get better. And this is where really William Goldsmith had his problems. This is where he was in a true studio environment, had to play perfect, and couldn't. For just simple as that. And that's when Dave took over. And at the end of recording this album, Dave was basically like, hey, you can totally be, the drummer of the band at the shows, but I'm recording all the drum parts of the song to the album.
Yeah.
And, that's a gut check, and who would want to do that? And obviously he wanted to be an asset to the band just like everybody else, so they parted their ways. But this album is the iconic album. The one that this got you into Foo Fighters for sure. For whichever song it is.
I found it interesting too that Taylor had a lot of nerves in the studio. I watched a few interviews with Taylor Hawkins.
He still does.
And that dude, he was like, it is so intimidating. He's like, Dave's my best friend, but he's like, it is so intimidating still to this day to go in there when it's studio time and we're recording tracks. And he's like, I'm in there and I need to nail it. He's like, on stage, he's like, it's no problem. He's like, he's a great live stage performer. But he's like, when I get behind the kit and it's that light's on and it's going, he's like, it is intimidating. And sometimes there are certain songs that Dave still will be the drummer for. Like he'll play that part or he'll play that track or whatever.
Right. Or whatever that fill or whatever. Yeah. Excuse me.
But I thought that was very interesting.
It is what it is. I mean, it is what it is. But this album, The Color and the Shape, is, again, that's why they released it 3 years ago in 2017 as the 20th anniversary, because it was just such an iconic this was the breakout album for sure for them. And then much again, 2 years later, they come out with a new one in 99. There's Nothing Left to Lose, and this is the one where they start to get more involved with. This is where you see Tenacious D as friends in videos and things like that. The first track off it is Learn to Fly. The first single off it is Learn to Fly. And then you had Breakout and Next Year on that one. Stacked Actors was an Aussie release, but Stacked Actors is an interesting song. probably my favorite song off of this one. If not, I don't know. Next year's really, really good. But Stacked Actors is just a great song. It's also a song
That's a good one.
supposedly about Courtney Love.
Hmm.
And she got on the Howard Stern show after this and was pissed and said that Dave Grohl was mad at Kurt all the time and was jealous of Kurt's success and all this other fucking bullshit. Drunk as shit on Howard Stern show. It's quite funny. MIA is a really good track. Hidden gem off of this one. MIA is very good.
That one I'm not recalling it fresh in the brain. I'll have to listen to that one. But yeah, Next Year is fantastic. Breakout was probably one of my favorites from them for a few years because that was just a rage song. Like that, I related a lot because that was right around teenage years. Fucking lots of rage, angst. That.
Oh, it was a great track. We would fucking jam the fuck out of that in the car. That's a track where you just like, fuck yes, let's go fast. Let's fucking
blast it.
Right. Learn to Fly was a great track, though. I mean, Learn to Fly was a great track. Oh, yeah. Next Year's a great track. Breakout was a great track. I love Stacked Actors. And MIA off of this one was really, really good.
Agreed.
Adam Casper was the producer of this one. They only did one album with Adam Casper. This was done at Studio 606 in Virginia again. And the next album is also done at Studio 606, and it came out again 2 years later in 2002. One by One. One by One, Adam Casper and Nick Rosalinski did the production on this one. So Adam Casper was there for two, but he was like, I feel like this is the one where they were kind of weaning each other in. Like Adam Casper was handing off the torch of Foo Fighters to Nick here, and it feels similar. Like you could think there are certain, like Learn to Fly. Learn to Fly, you would almost be like, I bet that's off One by One. It feels like a track off of this album. Whereas, because All My Life is the first track, and Times Like These are the kind of the two big tracks that everybody knows off of this particular one. And I feel like Learn to Fly fits in there. It's almost, you see that producer and probably location. I mean, again, this one was recorded at Studio 606. So, because Dave's originally from Virginia, so he likes this studio. He grew up down from it, and I'm sure I don't know a lot about Studio 606, but I'm sure there's a lot of decent albums that were recorded there and such.
Yeah, All My Life, that's a jam.
Right, for sure. I mean, yeah, that's the one that still to this day they talk about being we'll start the middle of the set. It doesn't matter how bad the show's going or how good the show's going. We start playing the opening riff to All My Life, and the fucking crowd goes fucking apeshit. And that's when we got them. That's when the whole show can turn around.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, Times Like These, though, I really enjoy that one a lot. That's probably... Both of them are really good. Both of them are really good.
Times Like These is one of those legendary, timeless songs. That song will be relevant just as much as it was when it came out, as it is today, as it will be in 20, 30 years from now.
100%. Yeah, I mean, couldn't agree more. And this is where they start to cut that. So now, about 2.5 years later, in mid 2005, the next one comes out. In Your Honor, Nick Rosalinski produced this one as well. This time at Dave's Studio 606 West in Los Angeles. So Dave builds a studio, calls it the Studio 606 West, and wanted to do something a little different. He wanted to do kind of a full rock album and a chill album and a full acoustic orchestrated album to kind of have that juxtaposition of rock. And In Your Honor is fucking awesome. I can listen to this whole album front to back. tell me, name a song, and I'll tell you how fucking much I love it. Like it's this whole fucking album is amazing, and with this album came another like a video, the Skin and Bones series, and the acoustic sessions of Skin and Bones the album, which is just again another
So
amazing,
good.
amazing. That Skin and Bones album is probably one of the best albums there is, but like ever made, like you can put it on and it's fucking amazing.
And this I think this album is where you get to realize that the Foo Fighters aren't just a classic all American rock band. Like they have so many layers, and they start to really show those layers as each new album comes out, and just how much they can encompass not only the rock genre but bring in all these elements from different genres, and just go from being having Dave screaming your fucking face and melting you with a guitar and a fat ass drum beat and rhythm section, but then breaking it down to its most natural and basic components and being totally being totally open and vulnerable, and just letting you feel the music and feel the emotion and feel everything that is the acoustic side of this album.
Well, and the orchestration and the harmonics of that acoustic side of this album. I will give you, there's a couple albums that there are a couple songs in the acoustic that are not on Skin and Bones. As much as I love the In Your Honor Disc 2, I would say to, if you really want a treat, forgo In Your Honor Disc 2, listen to In Your Honor Disc 1, and then play the Skin and Bones album right after it. It gets you the same effect. And there are songs on the Skin and Bones album that are not on this one that is better, that are just really, really fucking great songs. But yeah, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I mean, to cherry pick some, um, DOA is a fantastic song. Um, Hell is a fantastic song, track 5. Um, The Deepest Blues Are Black is a fantastic. The Deepest Blues Are Black feels like a Hall & Oates track to me. Like it is a true
A
late 70s fucking classic rock track. Like it is just so good, but it's written expertly. And I mean, I would be remiss to say End Over End. End Over End is probably my favorite track off this album. Probably,
Yep.
it's
I was
just
just gonna say that.
it's just a brilliantly written song. Um,
It's hard for me between In Your Honor and End Over End. I like both of those
In
a
Your
whole
Honor
lot.
is so fucking good. I love In Your Honor because it's the opening track of this album. It's still
Mm-hmm.
a full track, but it's fucking the opening track of this album, and it really shows all the words, the elements of In Your Honor, the song translate what this album is going to be to you, and it's fucking amazing. It's great. It's a really, really good song. But End Over End always for me because it's the longest track on the album for one. It's got the fattest riff of any song on this album, probably. That riff is fat as shit. Like it's just good. It's just a really, really good track. Um, and then okay, we can talk about Razor off the disc too. Razor, I don't even know what to tell you on that one. That one is written. He does he does that song perfectly. It is a orgasmic song. It's an orgasmic rock track or a crescendoing song that all that song does is slowly build to a melt your face. And
Yes.
it's just and it melts your face while it tears your heart out, which is hard to do.
Yeah, he goes into a different place in his mind for this song. Like he steps into like almost like a different role or a different character,
Right.
because this song makes you like
Yeah.
feel it. You feel it. All the words, you just feel it.
And
It's so good.
to be perfectly honest with you, that's probably one of the main reasons why I don't like to listen to this too. Because I like every song on here, but ending on Razor isn't a good feeling. It's not a good feeling to end on that song. So for me, I think opening with Razor as Skin and Bones does really sets the tone. All right, now that I've cut a hole in your chest and exposed your heart, let me give you all these other songs. And that's what Razor does to me for Skin and Bones, and I feel like right now it just leaves me open and broken at the end of this.
I don't. There's another lighter version, but in a different tone in track 5 on this one, Friend of a Friend.
Friend of a Friend is a song that Dave Grohl wrote in like 92 or 90. No. Yeah, it was like 91 or 92 when he was living in Kurt Cobain's house because he didn't have anywhere else to go. He would write tracks sometimes at night, and he wrote this song about Dave Grohl, I guess. He doesn't really say who he wrote it about, but I mean, you can imagine who he wrote it about when you listen to it. Or somebody else in the scene that is a user of drugs heavily. It could be about them, but it certainly begs the question. Who knows? But yeah, Friend of a Friend is the Requiem for a Dream track on this album to me. Like, it's a deep ass fucking song that paints a smoother picture. If you really dive deep into that song, it's a rough go. But another round, Over and Out.
Oof. Over and Out, and another round. Like, seriously, just turn it on, and all of them are good, but track 4 to the end.
Track 4 to the end is amazing. I mean, Cold Day in the T-Hawk fucking Cold Day in the Sun is a great song. It really, you notice how green he is on Cold Day in the Sun, but I still love it. It's still a good song.
Oh, it's a very well written song. It's a pretty, it sticks in your head pretty good. It's catchy, and it's put together well. He's playing drums and singing, while Dave, I think, does a little bit of backing, and
yeah, he
plays
definitely
guitar.
does. But I mean, singing is nothing new for Hawk. He
Backs every almost song.
Basically,
every single one.
their voices are so nice together that they just kind of do it together. And then, so with that one being closed in your honor, fantastic. You need to get it. What was it? 2 years later, almost right at 2 years later, again, Studio 606 West, Dave Grohl again gets Mr. Gil Norton, the friend from Color and the Shape, one of their most iconic albums ever. We get Mr. Gil Norton to produce, in my opinion, their best album, period. Although the next one after this one is a tough sell to not be also the best, but I will give it to this one because this one paints a picture and is a purposeful album. And he got the idea. What did he get the idea from? He was talking to, oh my goodness, I forgot. Clive Davis.
Focus.
He was talking to Clive Davis about this album that he did in your honor, where we're like, yeah, we did the hard rock stuff and we wanted to do the softer side of rock, so we did a full acoustic album. And Clive looks at him and he says, why do you have to separate it? Why can't you do both together? And this kind of fucking Zen Yoda fucking moment, Dave Grohl's like, oh, I can. And fucking makes ESPG, Echo, Silence, Patience, and Grace.
I like here it says that Grohl tried to focus on songs with messages that resonated with his audience, writing reflective lyrics which drew inspiration from the birth of his daughter, which that's really cool.
Oh, that is really cool. Jeez, and that's right, she's 13. Fuck. This is Violet. And we'll talk about Violet here at the end of the show when we talk about current events with that's going on. Fucking, that's crazy. Wow, that's really cool. Again, this album, turn it on and you're welcome.
Front to back, my friend.
Don't care. Turn it on. You're welcome that I told you to do so. Like, that's it's fucking amazing. The Pretender. Everybody knows The Pretender. The Pretender was one of the biggest tracks of all fucking time in rock at the time. In 2007, if you didn't know what The Pretender was, it was on everything. I mean,
you weren't listening to radio then.
It was at the Super Bowl show in 2008. Like, it was fucking everywhere. The Pretender was on everything. Let It Die, though, is a fantastic track.
Oh, and my friend, you and I, that one.
Let It Die is, yes. I mean, and it's a screamer. That's what's fun about this track, because it really shows. Let It Die shows the juxtaposition of this album. It starts out really, really soft and melodic and easy listening and getting into. And then why'd you fucking have to go and let it die? Because I'm
Like
going to melt your face off.
he becomes singing about something that doesn't seem close and personal. Like he's just kind of gently,
Right.
introducing you to it at the beginning, and at the end, he is in your face asking you, "Why the fuck did you have to go and let it die?"
And it's amazing. It just is amazing.
Oh,
And you're like,
so
Dave, I
good.
didn't know I let it die, buddy. Shit.
I'm sorry.
I'm
Let's fix
sorry.
this.
Let's do this something about it. Let's talk about it. I don't know. What did I let die? I don't know. Uh,
Oh,
Erase
it's so
Replace
good.
is a great song, a jam song. It's not better than Let It Die, but it's a great track. Uh,
Still a great track
Long Road to Ruin, I still like that song. I feel like Long Road to Ruin was overplayed. It was a single that
on the
was,
radio.
yeah,
Yes.
it was a single that was the mid single, I think. Yes, it was the mid single. So Pretender came out, and everybody loved Pretender and rocked the piss out of that and was played, 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 played. And then Long Road to Ruin came out at the end of the year, and there wasn't another single till Let It Die in the summer. Like, Cheer Up Boys, uh, Your Makeup Is Running came out in April, but nobody gave a shit about that song.
Yeah.
Let It Die was the better track off of there, and that's the fourth single. So Long Road to Ruin had this damn near 8 months, 7 months to gestate to get over fucking played. And I still like the track, but it's
It
not.
seems just like here. I'll just say it. It's kind of a repetitive song, and there's not a whole lot of meat to it. It's a
So
great
it's
song.
hilarious
It's
that you call it a repetitive song. It is a great song. Continue your thought though, please.
I don't know. Yeah, it just seems like
Repetitive.
yes,
Okay,
and
so
it makes it seem longer than it is. It's a 3 minute and 44 second
oh
song,
shit,
which
true. And I would go 4.5 every day of the week, 4:45 every day of the week for it. But here's the thing: I feel like it pulls too much from the country and western roots. And I'm talking Elvis Presley and uh, Johnny Cash country and western. Like we're talking 1950s country and western. Before there was a genre country. Like this is what music was. Like this is what rock music was. So I feel like it comes from a place there, and that is bass repetition because that's all they. I mean, they were learning a new genre. So for them to say the same damn thing over and over and over again and have 5 choruses and only 1.5 verses was norm skis because we were figuring
yeah,
this rock thing out. But it was really cool that you played the guitar that way. You know what I mean? That's what. So Long Road to Ruin has a really good riff and a really good hook that is overused in the song
and
inherently.
combine that with
Combine that with
being
overplaying,
over. Yeah,
you just come it turns a good song into less than, and that's where that one falls for me. Um, and especially after Come Alive is the song after it, and Come Alive is I don't even know why that wasn't a single. I mean, that should have been a single. It
that
was
was crazy that it wasn't.
Come Alive is an amazing, amazing song. I know why my favorite song on the album wasn't a fucking single because you have to be a giant fucking nerd like us to fucking really truly appreciate this song.
Number
But
6, you're talking about.
yes, Stranger Things Have Happened is I don't know one of the best songs they've ever written. Like
Yeah,
one of the I mean number three in the top three of best songs they've ever written.
I'm
Probably
glad you didn't beat around the bush with that, and you just came right out and said it. That yes, this is probably one of the best songs they've ever written.
ever
And now,
written easily. Like I mean I would go number one, but I mean I this song holds such a weird personal place in my heart. Like this song is it's just I love this song so fucking much. It's ridiculous. So like to me it's probably their best written song ever. I don't know, but yeah, at least in top three. Um, it's just amazing. If you listen to no other song on this album, if you listen to no other song that I tell you to listen to by the Foo Fighters, if I if somebody were to say I hate the Foo Fighters, prove me wrong, I would play that song. I hate the Foo Fighters. Foo Fighters are nothing but poppy bullshit, and Monkey Wrench suck dick. I'd play that. I'd play that
that
song.
sounds like such an average person, like who
Yes,
don't listen to Foo Fighters. That sounds like exactly something they would say.
right. And I would throw on Stranger Things. If you do not come to me and say I'm sorry that I said all those things, and please, sir, I'd like some more. To
Yes.
me, you're. I don't even want to be your friend, honestly.
Right.
Like
We can't be friends.
musically, I'm off with you because you've. I don't know what your fucking. I don't know what your fucking problem is.
Off with his head.
But and then you got. But anyway, Stranger Things it will be in the description. Do not worry. Um, so Cheer Up Boys, Your Makeup is Running is a fucking punk rock song. That's all it is, and that's fine. I don't like Foo Fighters punk that much. I'll be perfectly. I don't like this version of Foo Fighters punk this much because Hey Johnny Park is kind of a punk song, and I like that version of punk. I like, or like, um, I'll get to it. I'll hold on. It'll come. Um, other versions of their punk shit is great. This particular one, I'm not a huge fan of.
White limo.
No, it's early, way early, way early.
Oh, way early.
Here, I can do it. What do you Summer's End? What did you think of Summer's End?
That's the one track on the album I'm having a hard time remembering, like because I haven't listened to this album in a while. I know it because I know the last song is on here, so I've heard it all the way through.
Right.
I almost need to listen to it real quick.
Okay, well we'll talk about the battle. The number 9 track is the ballad of the Beaconsfield Miners. These were the miners. Do you know the story of this, or you got the story of this pulled up at all? By the way, because this is an really cool story. It's essentially some miners who got stuck in a mine, and they were able to send messages back and forth, but they were not able to get them out. And
happened in 2006 in Australia.
And they said that they fucking loved Foo Fighters music. So Dave Grohl sent them like a shit ton of like this because they could send them stuff like food and shit back and forth. They just weren't able to clear it. So fucking he sent them a bunch of fucking Foo Fighters stuff and like care packages and shit. Down in the Park. So Hey Johnny Park, okay, and Down in the Park.
Okay.
Down in the Park by them off the B-side stuff is a great track that is it's a punky song, but in that different punky way. The more Green Day punky way. No, it's because Green Day does the same thing. All punk bands do the same thing where they do the cheer up boys songs, but I like the more reserved punk songs that aren't just a screaming match. The ones that are designed to get you. The Henry Rollins punk songs. Where it's more designed with a message rather than just a screaming match. I mean, I don't like screaming, but...
Yeah, yes, there's still a fair amount of screaming, but yeah.
Right. So anyway, that's a really cool story. You got it?
Let me close it out with this. So it says here, when Dave Grohl found out the miners' request to have band's music, the Foo Fighters music, sent down on MP3 players while they were trapped, Dave issued a personal message via fax for them indicating he would meet them for a beer. Grohl's note read, in part, "Though I'm halfway around the world right now, my heart is with you both. I want you to know that when you come home, there's 2 tickets to any Foo show anywhere and 2 cold beers waiting for you. Deal?" And in October 2006, one of the miners took up his offer, joining Grohl for a drink after Foo Fighters concert.
Fuck yes, I would.
At the Sydney Opera House.
That's so awesome. Very cool. He's such a good guy. Like, again, this is not a show about Dave Grohl. This is a show about the band. Because to get into Dave Grohl is to get into a whole other sticky wicket of all kinds of other shit. And respecting music, and there's just it's a big topic that I don't want to get into right now. This is big enough. To close it out again.
We got a couple songs on the last album here. Any Statues, But Honestly, and Home.
Those are great. Listen to the whole fucking thing. Enjoy the fucking masterpiece that is ESPG. Coming out, what is it? How many years later? 09, I guess, right? Or is that 07? Was that 09 or 07? 07. So they took some time. 4 years off before Wasting Light. Now they were doing other things in the interim with this. I think this is when they kind of had the what is it, the Greatest Hits album was released in '09, and they did uh, the video for, what was it, the video for um, man, what was that? Damn it.
Not Tenacious D, but
Sound City. That's what I'm looking for. That's what I'm trying to
Sound
pull for.
City.
Sound City. Sorry, folks. '09 they released the Greatest Hits, and I think around this '09 time was when he was doing the Sound City stuff, that documentary series. We're gonna do a whole documentary on Sound City because I don't have Sound City pulled up, and really to get into that is to get into music history, and that's a really good lesson, and I think a really good video to where we can touch on a lot of different, really cool different things. Um,
but
so,
Wasting Light.
but Wasting Light, yeah, they took some years off, 4 years off, and then came out in April of '11 um, with Wasting Light. A very late 1970s cover art to this fucking track, with the silhouetted images of all four in three different angles and shit in the, reds and green spectrum. A very 1970s. This is an iconic 1970s front cover. If you need to know.
Well, and what's exciting about this is where none other than Butch Vig, who was previously working on Nirvana stuff with Dave Grohl and the others.
He worked on Nirvana stuff with Dave Grohl. He worked on the Sound City documentary with Dave Grohl. He's also the drummer for Hole. No, sorry, drummer for Garbage. I apologize. That was
right.
Drummer for Garbage. Don't say Hole. That's a bad. Don't say Hole. We're not
We
talking
don't talk
about that.
We don't talk about Hole here.
Right. So it's they did a really cool thing with this when they released a couple singles in the front end before the album came out. One of them being Rope and one of them being White Limo. Two very, very. It was like, okay, so you heard ESPG, you got the Sound City stuff. Nobody hasn't heard a Foo album in a couple, 2-3 years. Let's fucking smash them in the fucking face with some hard bullshit. And Rope
way hard bullshit.
and White Limo is the hardest track they've ever written. Period. All he does is scream. It took me probably 15 times before I knew what he said. And then I looked at the lyrics and was like, okay, cool, I do. I like to give it a couple listens to see if I can pick out the the lyrics before I do it. So anyway, so Rope and White Limo came out, and then you had the first like the third single basically was Walk, which I'm not a huge fan of Walk. Walk is okay. Walk was a big track. It's a poppy track. I get why they chose it. But there are fucking so many other songs on this album. This album, again, is a just turn it the fuck on. It's a great, great album. I have it on vinyl. It's a wonderful fucking album.
Nice.
Bridges Burning is a great song to open it up with. I like Rope. Rope is a good track. And then Dear Rosemary. Dear Rosemary. So Dear Rosemary, he works with somebody who also worked with on Sound City. Paul, not... Man, am I gonna... It's not Paul Mood. It's, oh my god. Bob Mood. Yeah, Bob Mood from, Sugar. Anyway, Bob Mood was on a couple songs on Sound City, which was really good, and that song was nice. And he plays guitar, sang and plays guitar on Dear Rosemary, and his part in Dear Rosemary is the echo. It's just a great fucking track. It's really a great track. He recorded this one in Dave Grohl's garage too. That was the other thing with this one. They wanted to get back to basics. And they recorded this fucking thing. He put a studio in his garage.
Yep. This is also notably where Pat Smear returns, and he's now a permanent member of the Foos. When they recorded this,
Yeah, right. And he wasn't. That's true. Very true. I thought he was on a couple songs in ESPG, but it doesn't appear that he was. But yes, this is the
Yeah.
triumphant return in 2011 of Mr. Pat Smear. Had been wanting to come back for a while. He was part of the Sound City stuff and played guitar on probably four of the tracks on that album, alongside Dave. Um, but yeah, White Limo again. But my favorite, Arlandria, is probably my favorite track on this album. What would you think? Which one's your favorite?
Um, Arlandria and These Days, both very, very
Oh,
good
those are
for
really
me.
good. Yeah, yeah.
Um, I like White Limo for what it is, but it's definitely not my favorite Foo song. It's pretty abrasive, and like you said, you got to listen to it a bunch of times to figure out what he's saying. Because he's screaming at you
He is.
hardcore. Um, but that's a good aggression reliever for sure.
It isn't a good fast track, and it's a good breaker. From Dear Rosemary going into that song, it's a quick track. 3 minutes 22 seconds, a decent track, quick to get through, and yeah, I forgot one though. I should have known.
But oh,
Number
oh,
10.
I totally skipped over that too.
I should have known it. I should have known that I should have known was on here, and I take it back. That's my favorite song on the album, but it's several reasons, but it's a song that is written about not necessarily about Kurt, but about people who have used drugs in the past and died of overdoses. A friend of Dave's from Scream, he's had several people in his life who basically have done this. That's what this is about. Mr. Chris Novoselic is on bass on this particular track. Um, Chris Novoselic was from obviously Nirvana, so it was a a pretty big track for them to come, and a really really powerful and really good track. But a lot of these are awesome, like I said. So I'd say Bridge Burning, Dear Rosemary, Alandria, These Days, I Should Have Known. I mean, honestly, A Matter of Time is really good as well. Um, that's that's. I mean, I really really like that one. I mean, I really do, but I think I think we're probably getting in to where it's almost. I mean, because you come out after that, they got 3 years, and then they go on to the Sonic Highways album, which is the Sonic Highways album is an interesting album. It's their eighth studio album, a project album, if you will, recorded in one, two, three, four, five, seven different studios with various with eight different people, right?
Yeah.
And it's
Yep.
just it's an interesting track. It takes that Sound City aspect, and Sound City again is an episode we're going to do, but to just kind of give you an overview of it, Sound City was a studio in San Fernando, California, where a ton of great albums were recorded. Not least of which is Rage Against the Machine's Rage Against the Machine, Nirvana Nevermind, Tom Petty, Tom Petty, God damn it, his third album. Um, uh, Damn the Torpedoes was fucking his fourth album was recorded there too. So just a crazy fucking studio that had a shit ton of work. He did a documentary on it in the vein with collabing artists. This is what he's doing with Sonic Highways, but this is where he has all of his band plus somebody else. So like Rick Nielsen, Seeker Thompson, Zach Brown. I mean, Zach Brown on Congregation was a really good song. Um, uh,
And
Joe
Sonic Highways
Walsh.
was right after the Sound City, the whole thing.
Oh, it was right after the Sound City thing. Okay, fair
Yep.
enough.
Sound City was 2013, and then Sonic Highways
Gotcha.
is in.
Okay, so that makes total sense. Yeah, sure, that makes total sense.
So he'd already been doing everything for Sound City, meeting all with all the different artists and collabing with them, doing
And did that album,
performances
and yeah, and did that album, did that documentary series, and wanted to do another one. and liked the kind of the production with it. So he actually did a mini documentary, an 8 episode documentary on each song, um, in on HBO. It was pretty cool.
Yeah,
Or
and
maybe it was four. Maybe it was 4 episodes, but whatever. It was like a month long.
and if I remember correctly, each song on this album was written not only that he didn't have this in the bank already. This was written in the city that he was at,
He was written in
and
the
they
city that he was at, and the lyrics were
and
written right
recorded.
before, and yeah, right before he wrote the lyrics and recorded it like same day. It was all right then kind of shit, which
Yep,
is really cool.
I think his idea was like he wanted to capture the
Capture that moment.
actual
Yeah, capture the city, capture the moment,
in
capture
time,
yeah
moment.
his feeling and his what he kind of gets out of the city at that moment.
Yep.
Which is cool. I Feast or Famine and Something from Nothing are really good. Congregation with Zach Brown is good. This is a pretty decent album all the way around. I think it's solid pop hits. Everybody liked the whole thing. It's not the greatest album in the world. And I think this is kind of where they're starting to... Butch Vig again produced this one, which is fine, but I think they're starting to kind of lose their way. Or not lose their way, get bored. I guess get bored is probably the better term for it. So they again waited another 3 years and came out with another, their ninth, Concrete and Gold. And that was the latest as of now. And I got the vinyl of this one. I like this one. What do you think of this one?
Concrete and Gold. Hold on, that's one I didn't have pulled up yet.
Well, the sky is a neighborhood is the one that you have heard a ton of. I'm sure.
Sky is a neighborhood.
I dig a lot.
I've heard the song Concrete and Gold, the title track. Honestly, I don't know if I've heard much else off of this album though. Sky is a Neighborhood's a great song. You turned me on to it right after this album came out, and it's a very good classic Foo song for sure.
Yeah, great track.
I mean, it's nothing against it. I don't know any of the other ones though, which is a bummer.
And it's because it's just not. It's a decent album, but it's not that great. It isn't that great, and I'm wondering. I'm just wondering what's next. I guess.
Well, and he admits too. It says that songwriter Dave Grohl, with the heated atmosphere of the 2016 elections and presidency of Donald Trump, cited as major influencers by Grohl, juxtapositions serve as a common motif in both the album's lyrical and musical composition.
Right.
The overall theme of the album is hope and desperation.
It's just an interesting. Just an interesting album. I think it's not one of their greatest, but I think it's a definite stepping point for where I think they're going to go with the next one.
Which is very exciting.
Very soon.
Very exciting.
As we talked about in previous episodes of this of the show, they are in the studio right now working on stuff. T-Hawk said it after this tour they were going in. Dave Grohl's also confirmed it. Well, Twitter feed also shows a lot. They've been doing crazy shit as of late. Like pictures of drums in the fucking stairwell and a mic in a tub. I think what they're doing is recording in crazy fucking spaces and getting crazy acoustics for certain shit. I think that's what he's doing.
That microphone in the tub, I could easily see in that being like a master bathroom suite, and it's just him with the door shut, probably vaulted ceiling.
Maybe the water running somewhere, like just ambiance, different ambiances. Maybe a water running in this particular scene, and then him fucking screaming into that. Drums in the hallway is an old Led Zeppelin maneuver from Led Zeppelin 4. That's John Bonham's drums in Led Zeppelin 4 are notoriously recorded in the fucking hallway of the manor house that they were at.
The stairwell, wasn't it?
Right, stairwell. Yeah. What did I say? Yeah, whatever. Stairwell. Hallway. Whatever. Yeah. The stairwell. That's what this other Twitter picture represents. I feel like Taylor Hawkins.
And that's a video. or not a video, but that's an audio snippet. When you click on it, I'm gonna give you guys a sneak peek of this. I think it's just like a drum beat on repeat, so it's only about like
Okay,
a
well I can
3 or 4
play it,
second drum
and
beat.
I can play it here, and we'll do it. I'm
Oh,
playing
you
it right
can.
now. Yeah, it seems like it's just on repeat for sure. Yeah, I didn't listen to that. There's a new one out. Wow, there's a new one out yesterday or 2 days ago. That's kind of loud. That I'll turn down for the audience, and we'll get a little sneak peek of this. I dig on that. I hope that's first single stuff that's gonna come out. Wow, that's interesting. Like it's very cool. And this weekend, coincidentally, they also did a kind of a tribute. Heaven and Rock and Roll. Dave Grohl and Friends, Cheap Chick, Marilyn Manson, Beck was there, Saint Vincent was there, and his daughter, one Miss Violet Grohl, played. They played Heart Shaped Box, and Violet sang vocals on it. It was really cool. It was a really cool tribute to Kurt, and I think it raised money for something honoring Ashley and Topher Grace as the Spirit of Asylum. That's right, yeah, Spirit of Asylum. Um, they raised money for that, so it's cool. It was a cool thing. Don't
And
ask
it's
me what
exciting
Spirit of
because
Asylum is. I don't know.
it's 2020, and they talked a few months ago about rumored new album coming out, and they've confirmed that they are having a new album come
They're
out
also
in
teasing us
2020,
with it, which is fucking shitty,
but awesome at the same time.
but awesome at the same time, and it gives us fucking conversations with Cabys some shit to talk about, because every fucking time we're gonna be talking about this shit, and we're gonna fucking be reviewing it when it does come out.
And this is the 25th anniversary of the Foo Fighters this year, so it's kind of exciting that they get a new album coming out on their 25th anniversary.
Their
It should be
10th
good.
album coming out on their 25th anniversary. It's pretty good. Pretty good for a
Consistency,
band.
guys.
Pretty good for a band. If you guys should go on Twitter, go on their Twitter and check out that guitar snippet that I linked. You guys heard. You should check out the full thing of it. It's pretty cool. If that's any indication of what the guitar is going to be, I'm pleased as punch. That sounds really really good. All
Yeah.
these really good songs will be in the description below for you guys. Yeah. Anything else, D?
No, check out their website, foofighters.com. Check out their tour schedule if you want to go see them at a city near you. And otherwise, yeah, love the Foo Fighters. We'll be back with more whenever the new album drops. And
For sure.
otherwise, stay tuned.
For sure. We'll be hitting up on the Foo Fighters. We'll get you the news. We always do. Well, good episode. First one of the new year. Dig on everything that we fucking showed. If you like us, like and subscribe. We always love that. It goes a long way to helping us out. And yeah, be good to each other. Happy fucking New Year.
Happy New Year.
Peace.
Woo!